We want to begin by speaking directly to the fans, because this storyline only exists thanks to the passion, arguments, doubts, and endless discussions that surround Willow right now. From the very first moment the gun went off and Drew fell, we knew this would not be a simple plot about guilt or innocence. We knew it would be about perception, silence, and how truth in General Hospital is rarely what it seems on the surface. As storytellers, we are standing in that uncomfortable space where the audience knows more than the characters. And that gap is where the tension lives. We know Willow pulled the trigger. We know this because the show has already revealed it to us. But inside Port Charles, the truth is still fragmented, hidden behind assumptions, legal maneuvering, and personal loyalties. Possibly no one has fully connected the dots yet. Or if they have, they're choosing to stay quiet. We believe that if anyone knows, it is likely only Kai, Trina, and Alexis, and even they may not fully grasp the consequences of what they're holding on to. The mess surrounding Willow has not cooled down, and it does not feel like it will anytime soon. General Hospital has clearly placed this storyline at the center of its current arc, and as fans, we have all felt that intensity. Every scene, every sideways glance, every moment Willow appears on screen carries the weight of what she did and what she might still lose. The legal danger is only one layer. Beneath that, there is emotional fallout, moral conflict, and a future that looks increasingly unstable. We are not just watching a woman face justice. We are watching someone who has already been reshaped by trauma, illness, and loss, now standing at another breaking point. Before we go deeper, we need to be clear with ourselves and with the fans. What we are about to explore is a predicted storyline. It is not confirmed. It is not an official spoiler. It is a hypothetical path the show could take based on the characters, their histories, and the emotional logic that General Hospital often follows. Hypothetically, this storyline could unfold in ways that shock even the most devoted viewers, or it could never happen at all. But the possibility alone is enough to make it worth examining closely. If Willow is acquitted, everything changes. On the surface, an acquittal would look like freedom. The charges would be gone. The threat of prison would disappear. But emotionally, acquittal would not mean peace. In fact, it might open the door to even more complicated decisions. One of those decisions, possibly the most explosive one, would be Willow seriously considering divorce from Drew. This idea has been circulating heavily among fans, especially across social media, where opinions are loud and often unforgiving. Some fans believe this is the natural next step. Others think it is wishful thinking driven by dislike rather than narrative logic. We find ourselves somewhere in between, questioning not just whether Willow wants to leave Drew, but whether she truly can. We understand why so many fans do not want Willow to live as Drew's wife. Drew, as a character, has been painted in increasingly harsh strokes. He comes across as controlling, emotionally manipulative, and morally compromised. Some fans go even further, arguing that Drew does not deserve happiness at all because of the harm he has caused. We hear that anger, and we recognize where it comes from. At the same time, we want to ground ourselves. This is fiction. These are characters designed to provoke strong reactions. Cameron Matheson's portrayal of Drew is effective precisely because it makes viewers uncomfortable. The fact that so many people dislike Drew is not a failure of the actor. It is his success. He has made Drew feel real enough to hate, and that is not easy to do. Returning to the storyline itself, we start to see another thread emerging, one that could complicate everything. Pregnancy. The possibility that Willow might be pregnant with Drew's child is not just a dramatic twist for shock value. It fits into the emotional structure of the story, with Nina's influence constantly hovering in the background. We can imagine a scenario where Nina initially encouraged Willow to marry Drew. Nina has always believed she knows what is best for her daughter, even when her advice causes more harm than good. Possibly, Nina saw Drew as protection, as stability, as a way to shield Willow from losing everything during the legal crisis. And if that is true, it is also likely that Nina could later become the one pushing Willow toward divorce once the immediate danger passes. If Willow is acquitted, Willow and Nina might feel like they have already won the most important battle. Freedom would give Willow the confidence to stand on her own. She could decide she no longer needs Drew's name, money, or influence. She could focus entirely on fighting for custody of Wiley and Amelia, believing that independence will make her stronger in court and in life. But that plan collapses the moment another child enters the picture. If Willow is pregnant, everything she thought she could walk away from suddenly pulls her back in. A child with Drew would tie her to him in ways that are far more permanent than marriage papers. We imagine Willow discovering the pregnancy at the worst possible time, perhaps just as she starts to imagine a future without Drew. The shock would not be joyful. It would be terrifying. She would immediately see the implications. Another custody battle. Another child caught in adult conflict. Another reason for her life to remain tangled with a man she may not love or even trust. At that point, Willow would be forced to rethink divorce entirely. It is not that she would suddenly forgive Drew or forget everything that led her to pull the trigger. It is that she might feel trapped by circumstance. Willow has already fought too many wars for her children. She might not have the emotional strength to face yet another legal nightmare, especially one involving a newborn. So, instead of choosing freedom, she might choose endurance. She might accept a life with Drew not because she wants it, but because it feels like the least destructive option available. There is also the question of emotional support. Willow has been through illness, loss, guilt, and now violent crime. No matter how strong she appears, she's exhausted. She needs stability, or at least the illusion of it. Drew, for all his flaws, might still be the pillar she leans on when everything else feels like it is falling apart. Even if she used him strategically to help secure her acquittal, even if she does not love him the way a wife should, she might still cling to him because being alone feels scarier. This is where the tragedy of the storyline deepens. Willow would not be staying because she is happy. She would be staying because she feels she has no other choice. Living with Drew would become an act of sacrifice rather than partnership. Every day would be a reminder of what she gave up to protect her children, including the unborn one. That kind of emotional imprisonment is something General Hospital has explored many times, and it resonates because it feels painfully real. Of course, we must remind ourselves again that this is not an official storyline. It is a projection, a possibility built from character behavior and narrative patterns. Hypothetically, the writers could take this in a completely different direction. But if they choose this path, it would allow them to explore themes of guilt, obligation, and the cost of survival in a way that feels true to Willow's journey. As we reach the end of this story, we are left with mixed emotions. On one hand, an acquittal feels like justice in a twisted sense, because the system in Port Charles rarely works cleanly. On the other hand, the price of that acquittal could be a lifetime of emotional compromise. Willow may walk free in the eyes of the law, but she might remain bound in every other way that matters. And that is what makes this storyline so compelling. It is not about whether Willow goes to prison. It is about whether she ever truly escapes the consequences of the choice she made the moment she pulled the trigger.